Sam from Sheridan Computers. In this video we're going to go through how to install Asterisk. What is Asterisk? It's an open source framework for building PBXs, and there's many other PBX systems that are based on Asterisk, such as FreeBSD, for example, is based on Asterisk itself. If we switch over to Asterisk website. So Asterisk is a free open source framework for building communication applications and is sponsored by Digium. Some of the stats on it: it's 2 million downloads annually, 86,000 community members, 170 countries with deployed installations. There's 1 million servers worldwide. Some Fortune 500 companies use it quite a lot, and there's 1.3 million endpoints introduced every year. The new version, Asterisk 15 onwards, extends the power of Asterisk with enhanced multi-party video conferencing and collaboration capabilities. I haven't used any of this stuff yet. If we look at some of the features on it, we've got to getting started. We scroll down to features. You can see Asterisk has a lot of features. Call forwarding, call monitoring, call parking, call queuing, call retrieval, call snooping, call transfer, call waiting, blacklists, transfers. It's got a lot of features: music on hold while transfer, privacy options, call features, SMS messaging, streaming hold music. It's got talk detection, load time and date functions, freeway calling, the voicemail. It has built-in voicemail to email. There's a lot of features on here. While we're here, we'll also point out that if you go back to the home page, if you don't want to build it, from scratch yourself, so need a phone system, have a look at the home page. So Asterisk versus Switchvox. People who frequently ask why Sangama offers both open source Asterisk engine and the commercial Switchvox solution. And if you look at the bottom, it's got quite a good conclusion on: if you're technically inclined and you want to build a communications product or solution, then Asterisk is for you. If you want an easy to install, easy to maintain, yet powerful and customizable phone system, check out Switchvox. So Switchvox is the commercial solution where you basically buy the box and all the support and everything comes from them. So with that, let's go over and do the install. I'm going to be doing this on FreeBSD. It's a fresh installation of FreeBSD. If you don't know how to install FreeBSD, I've done some videos on that. So let's head over and we'll get started. If you like this video, please press the like button, consider subscribing to the channel. If you hit the notifications icon, you get notifications of any new videos as they come up, and we are planning on doing some videos on this. If you'd like to hire us for any projects at all, head over to our website at sheridan.co.uk and click on the Hire Us button. If you fill out the form, leave some details on what you're looking for, we'll get back to you. Looking at our website, you can also see more information on who we are and what we do and some of the people that we deal with. So let's head over and take a look. So I'm doing this on a fresh installation of FreeBSD 12.1. So the first thing they're going to need to do are to make sure that our packages are up to date. We can do that using do as package update. Let's go ahead and let that update. So as you can see, our packages are up to date. If you're unfamiliar with do as, it's an alternative to sudo. It's not installed on the system by default. I have done a separate video on that if you're interested in using do as, but you can use sudo for the same effect. So the packages are up to date, so now we need to check what Asterisk version we've got available to us. So if we do as package search Asterisk, so you can see Asterisk 16, specifically 16.7.0 is one that's currently available to us on FreeBSD, and that's as of March 2020. So let's go ahead and install that one. Do as package install Asterisk 16. So as you can see, it says the following packages will be affected. So it's going to install 55 new packages, which takes 300 meg more space, 65 to be downloaded. There's a lot of dependencies and stuff with Asterisk, but we don't need to worry about that too much. The FreeBSD packages will handle that. So let's go ahead and install. Okay, so now we have FreeBSD package installed on the system. All the binaries are there, and the configuration files are stored in user local etc. Asterisk. And if we have a look at the configuration files, there's many configuration files for Asterisk. The package install basically installs all the sample files and everything for us. We can refer to these later for specific configs, but for this video and today's purposes, we're going to move all the configuration files out of the way, and we're going to start from scratch and set up a minimal installation that way. So if I create a new directory, old, and we copy all the file, well, move all the files into there. So do as move star into old. So now we're good to go. In order to get Asterisk up and running, we need 2 configuration files initially. So let's go ahead and move them back. So we need the asterisk.conf file, so let's put that back. And we need modules.conf. So in our directory currently we have asterisk.conf and modules.conf with all the old configuration files in the directory old. So the first file that we need to edit is the asterisk.conf. Just go ahead and edit that. So as you can see, this is a required configuration file because it has all the startup directories, and there's some other options in here that we can change. We can change the verbose and debugging options, quiet startup, you can turn colours off. There's not really anything that we need to edit in here at the moment. 2 settings that are important are max calls. So by default max calls is 10, so you can have 10 concurrent calls at any one time, and the max load of 0.9. So Asterisk will stop accepting any new calls if the system load is above that. So we don't really need to make any changes in there at this specific time. And as I mentioned, the other one that we need to edit is modules.conf. So for this video, I'm going to leave it to auto load equals yes, and I'll do a separate video on how to tune Asterisk and narrow this down a little bit. So if we delete all the commented lines out, and the only ones that we need in here are those basically. And now we should be able to start Asterisk. So if we do as sysrc asterisk underscore enable equals yes. So it's basically edited the rc.conf file to tell it to start the Asterisk service on startup. So now we can go ahead and start that service. Starting Asterisk. So we should be able to now connect to the Asterisk console. So to connect to the Asterisk console, you need to use do as or sudo and then asterisk minus rcv. And as you can see, we're now connected to the Asterisk console. There's a lot of modules running initially. So if we do module show, we can see all the Asterisk modules that are running. As I say, I'll do a separate video on how to narrow these down. So Asterisk is installed and it started, it's just not configured, so we need to set up some extensions and things. So let's go ahead and sort it out. So Asterisk has 2 SIP drivers. One is ChanSIP, which is the old one, and that's been replaced by pjsip, so I advise you to do this. So we're going to be setting up pjsip. So in order to set up our SIP extensions, we need to create a new configuration file. So and this is going to be called pjsip.conf. So the first thing we need is a global section, and I'm just going to put type equals global. This is a holder, so we'll come back to that later. And we need to set our transports up, so obviously our endpoints need to be able to talk to each other. So the first one we're going to do is transport UDP. We're going to do type equals transport. Protocol is UDP. I'm going to tell it to bind to all interfaces. So if you've got multiple interfaces in multiple network cards, you can bind it to a specific IP address. And we're going to do local net equals 10.1.10.0/24, which is my local network. And then we'll need these setting up to make outbound calls. And these will be replaced by our public IP address when we come to making outbound calls. So with that done, we're pretty much ready to go on and create our endpoints. But before we create the endpoints, we're going to create some templates for it. So rather than typing the same lines of code out over and over again, we're going to create a template, and then we can just call the template. So let's create our template. Endpoint templates. Okay, so this is where we're going to create our templates. So the first template we need to create is our endpoint template. So we specify the name of it in square brackets, and then we put an exclamation mark in brackets after it to show it that it's a template. I'm going to do type equals endpoint. Let's put some spaces in there. Transport equals transport UDP. So our endpoints are going to use this transport that we've specified here. Context equals FXS group. You can set that to internal extensions, or I'll go over that further later. Codecs, I'm going to disallow all, and then I'm going to allow ULAW, and I'm going to allow ALAW. I'll go into codecs again further down the line in another video, but we can deny them all and then specifically allow the ones that we want. Once we've done that, we want direct media equals no, which basically tells Asterisk to stay in the middle of the call and don't directly connect endpoints. I've had issues of doing this in the past, and we need to set our auth template up. So type equals auth type equals user pass. I'm going to set the password for this to 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So without specifying the password for all individual endpoints and extensions, we can use a template for it. And then the last one is our contacts template. And single registration, type equals AOR, max contacts equals 1. So that specifies a number of registrations that each device can have. So now we're ready to go ahead and create our actual endpoint an extension. So yeah, we'll call this extension 200. So the extension names, I tend to use MAC addresses. I'm just going to copy this MAC address from here. So rather than using extensions such as 200, 201, 202, that's kind of insecure because obviously it's easy to guess the extension. So I use MAC addresses of the phone. So each phone has a MAC address. It's usually on the bottom of the phone. We specify the MAC address in here. So this is our first extension, and I want it to use the endpoint basic template that we defined above. So basically, rather than typing this information out again underneath for each extension, we'll just pull it from the template. But I do want specific information in here, so I'm going to put SAM 6200 for my caller. 200 for my caller ID. And auth equals. So our authentication, registration, and our AOR. Again, I'm going to set to the MAC address. You'll see how this works in a second. So for that endpoint, we want to specify our authentication information. So doing that again pulls this template. So it'll set basically says me typing this information out again. And I'm going to set the username though. I'm going to set the username equal to our MAC address. As I say, I don't want it at 201 or whatever. You could quite easily put like Sam here and Sam here. This is the way I prefer to do it, the way that I've always done it. And then we need our AOR. And in here I'm going to put AOR single reg. And if we want to override this information, we can do, for example, and put match contacts equals 2. Now that's our first endpoint set up. So let me go ahead and save these details. And now if I go ahead and restart Asterisk, Asterisk stopped and reloaded. So if we go into Asterisk minus RCV to pull up the command prompt, and we should be able to do pjsip show. If you do question mark at the end of it, it'll auto complete. So show endpoints, and we can see our endpoint is there. We can see more information about it by pjsip show endpoint. If you want to show specific details about it. So now we should be able to register our soft phone with that. So let's go ahead and try and do that. So the soft phone that I am using is X Lite. So let's go ahead and set up the account. So for the account name, Sam, protocol is SIP, obviously. The user ID is our MAC address. The domain, IP address of the system, password was 1234567 8, I believe. Display name Sam, authorization name we can leave that blank because it'll use this user ID. That will override that basically. And proxy address. So if we now do we should be able to so now we can see we can't dial out because we've not set anything up, but our soft phone is registered. So the next thing we need to do is to set up some dial plan rules. Just exit this a second. Move that out of the way. So we've set our extensions up. There's no dialing rules because we named our extension by MAC address, and it doesn't matter whether we call it 200 or whatever. It doesn't actually have a number associated with it. So now we need to set some dial plan rules up. So the file that we need to create here is extensions.conf. It needs to have a global section, which we can just leave blank for the time being. And we're going to create a section called FXS group. Now this FXS group was the context that we used in pjsip.conf. So in here, we need to create a new extension. So we can do extend 200 is what we're going to call it. And I'm going to put a no op in there for the first command. Then we're going to do same n, and then we're going to put dial pjsip and the MAC address, which was what was the MAC address? Let me get it out there 1 second. So I need to put the MAC address in there. And the same N congestion, same. So what does this do? Our context is FXS group, which is the default context for our pjsip extensions. So we put an extension 200. The 1 is the first step, and no op is just I like to format it properly. So then the next step is going to be to dial our extension number, and then we've got congestion and then hang up. And I'll go ahead, save that. Now if I reload our Asterisk server, does Asterisk, service Asterisk restart, and go into Asterisk. We should now be able to see our dial plan. Dial plan show, sorry. So we can see our dial plan. So now we should be able to ring ourselves. So if I dial 200, then we have an incoming call from ourselves. Obviously that's not much use, so let's set a test extension up that we can play with. So let me exit this for a second. Let's edit our extensions conf, and I'm going to create another extension. So we're going to do extend, I'm going to create extension 500. And say the no op is no operation, so it's just me for formatting, that's the way I always like to do it. And then for the next step, we're going to answer. Let it wait for a bit. And then we're going to play back demo congrats, I think it's called. The default file it comes with. And wait for a bit more. And I'll do a congestion. And go. So now if we go ahead and reload Asterisk, oh sorry, hang on, just go ahead and enter Asterisk. Because we've already got a dial plan, I can now just do dial plan reload, show dial plan, dial plan show. So now we can see our dial plan, so we should be able to ring extension 500 and get something off it.
Congratulations! You have successfully installed and executed the Asterisk open source PBX. You have also installed a set of sample sounds and configuration files that should help you get started. Like a normal PBX, you will navigate this demonstration by dialing digits. If you are using a console channel driver instead of a real phone, you can
that's
use
the demo working. And we can call ourselves. Can't really answer it and talk to ourselves. Let me exit this. So that's the basics in getting Asterisk installed. I plan to do a few more videos on how to configure it further, registering with an external SIP provider and making calls externally. From that, if you want something to do, you can try and create another extension and see if you can make calls between the two. It should be quite easy from what I've shown you. But I say we'll go through the rest of that in more videos. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Consider subscribing to the channel, and if you hit the notifications icon, you'll get notifications of any new videos as they're released. If you would like to hire us for any projects, head across to our website, click on the Hire Us button, fill out the form, and we'll get back to you.